for higher juicy news. Mema Bawumia Kwaba had latest hot ekwa enamede bramo anuti so we subscribe to channel idea bomodia say obe subscribe. There we are say obe click the subscribe button na wabeli notification. We are sa video for be upload no when the first person once ebeka sa video. Afi we are na like video no give us a thumbs up na fi share my wo for so na when you be here now and somewhere koso e wo Ghana memwa afi yembura ye and somewhere abeto yepno so umayenti sa reporting somewhere abeto jamayenti
all public discussions debates so one of the things that I like to do is to test for logical consistency.
Right.
Very, very important. Logical consistency. Now, Doc here says that yesterday the case was determined by 5 judges.
Yes.
And that all the 5 judges were appointed by NPP administration. That's what he says. And that in spite of the fact that all 5 judges were appointed by an NPP administration, 2 dissented. And his argument is that it doesn't matter who appoints the judges. Now, if I'm mistaken, you can tell me that I'm mistaken. But this is your argument.
Spot on, yeah.
Yes. Spot on.
I said the first one was unanimous, 5-0.
Please.
You asked me
So how can you make this argument and at the same time insist that because President Mahama is appointing judges, those judges will listen to President Mahama?
Is that what I said? Did I say that? I didn't say that.
He's parking the court. If you say he's parking the court, what do you mean?
No, I said that he accused somebody of parking the court by doing, I said that Akufo Addo didn't park the court. He did
parking the court.
But he is doing that.
Doc. Parking the court, what does it mean?
It
means that you are putting people on the bench who will side with you. That's the only way you can
interpretation. Yes.
So please, can you allow me to finish?
Yeah.
So this logical inconsistency is clear. Because in one breath, you're arguing against parking the courts. In another breath, you're saying that it doesn't matter even if you park the courts. The judges once appointed can be against you.
You're putting words in my mouth. You are trying to just...
So say your words.
I suspect he's doing a logical deduction from the comments.
Based on what?
Not necessarily quoting the words that you uttered.
No.
He's making a logical deduction.
I want to be fair to
yes.
God.
What I said was
what did you say?
I said that during the election campaign, President Mahama accused N.Akufo Addo of parking the court. And I went for that to say that what Akufo Addo did was to replace justices, those who had died and those who had gone on retirement. Then he comes back, he wins power, and he has nominated 7. And this is in contrast to what he said. That's what I said. But you are extending it and putting words in my mouth.
Well, why are you deliberately taking out some of the statements that you made here? Those who are watching us, had you made those statements?
Which ones?
You made the statement that in spite of the fact that 5 judges were all appointed by NPP administrations, the 5 justices, 3 of them went against the position.
Yeah, I said that.
Of the NPP.
Yes, I said that.
And therefore, it doesn't matter who appoints a judge to the court.
Yes.
You said that.
Yes. I'm not wrong about that.
Hold on. I'm testing for logical consistency.
Okay, let's proceed.
Then, in the same breath, you accuse the Mahama administration of President Mahama of parking the courts. Hold on. What does parking the courts mean? Parking the courts can only mean that you are appointing judges to the court who would side with you.
Or to do your bidding.
With respect, you are misinterpreting what I said. I made reference.
Why is that misinterpretation?
No, I made reference to what John Mahama had said, accusing Akufo Addo, and I'm saying that he's doing the reverse, and that is contradictory.
That he's parking the courts. That's what
he accused somebody of parking the court. And I said that was not true.
And that he's also parking the court.
And I said that is
so stick to that. Why are you running away from that?
No, I said it is hypocritical. That's what I said.
Agreed.
So don't say that I said that judgment will be ruling your favor.
I beg you, don't run away from
I said these things, but when you say
that the president is parking the courts, the only meaning can be that is putting judges who are favorably disposed to him.
You are missing the point. You don't want to.
Listen,
you proceed. Jump.
There's only one small part of the presentation I want to make, that there's some logical inconsistency in
I disagree with you.
No problem.
With all due respect, I disagree with you.
No problem.
Two different contexts here.
Okay, no problem. But those who are listening to us get it. They can see the logical inconsistency very clearly.
Uncle Pratt.
That's one. Now, number two. Why are you people doing this to the nation? Before we started this discussion, you played a clip which had the general secretary of the party, who is a lawyer, in it, and other leaders of the party in the clip. What are they saying? That their main concern is that if the process, the constitutional process which has started, is allowed to conclude, President Mahama will declare his wish for a third term. We all heard it. You heard it.
I did. And it's not the first time. They've said it.
Well, yesterday, I was on a platform with your chief spokesman, Mr. Ahiagba, who actually stated very clearly that the NPP is not worried about the law or the constitution. And that what the NPP is doing is politics. And that if you follow the law, it is difficult to find fault with what the president is doing.
So why is Vincent Kwasi in court?
Hold on. Now, these are your own statements. I hope you won't run away from these statements too. You understand?
That I made.
Made by your general secretary, made by your chief communicator, made by your leaders. They are saying that, look, this is not a matter of law. This is not a matter of the constitution. It's about politics. And that somehow we believe, we fear, we've dreamt that President Mahama may declare a third term. A wish to run for a third term. Why are you wasting our time?
Okay, go ahead.
But why are you wasting our time?
Go ahead.
Why are you in court when you admit that this is not a legal matter? That this is not a constitutional matter? Why have you gone to court? To waste our time? To waste the time of the courts? What is this? Listen.
Look, can you give me 1 second to just...
Let me finish making this point.
I want to respond to
No, let me finish making this point.
You mean the president's removal of the CJ?
The same,
I'm very happy
Major Online.
Okay.
Is to take a new Chief Justice to repair broken image of Judiciary Mahama.
Okay. Yeah. We'll take a new justice.
Yeah.
A new judge.
A new justice. To repair the image.
A new justice.
It will take a new Chief Justice to repair broken image of Judiciary Mahama. But that is where my fear is coming from. That is why I don't know.
Is that the same as he would remove the judge?
My brother, this is in common English.
No, I get it. But interpretation is also very
important. Don't go there. This is plain English. Plain English.
You people, you are looking us in the face. You are telling us that what you are doing is not about the law. It's not about the constitution. And that is about the possibility.
The one will say, it depends on who you're talking to. There are some
General Secretary of the party doesn't speak for the party.
But there are some NPP communicators who have a different view.
Who are they?
They say there are procedural infractions.
Who are they?
Like myself.
That is why Vincent is in court.
Like
for instance, he raises the issue. For instance, he raises the issue about why the CJ was not given a copy of the petition. And he thinks that it is unfair to her. That's why he's in court.
Massa.
So that's something. It depends on who you're listening to.
No, I listen to everybody, including you.
Okay.
And me.
Well, more. I want to deal with you. What you are saying?
Yes.
Does it make any sense? Hold on. I beg you. Hold on.
All right.
Why? Procedural issues.
Yes.
You, this morning, read Justice Kennedy asking them to show him what in Article 146, what procedure has not been followed.
Yes.
You read it.
Yes.
You understand?
Yes.
And you came to a conclusion that there was nothing like that.
Yes.
You.
Yes.
So why are you now raising this question. Hold on, I haven't finished. Okay. I haven't finished. These are the same people who argued that when it comes to these processes prescribed in Article 146, the president is only a conveyor belt. Didn't they say so?
Yes.
So what are they talking about today? These arguments of convenience. This arguments of convenience, which has no logical consistency, which is not rooted in law and not rooted in constitutionalism, should be thrown out completely. What is this? Are they not the very people who told us that the president is only a convener belt?
But he can use his discretion to discontinue.
When he is just a convener belt, how does he use his discretion?
He can. He had discretion.
Were you not the same people who said in the Charlotte Osei case that when he received the petition, all he has to do is to pass it on? What discretion can he exercise when his duty is just to act as a post office, to act as a conveyor belt? How can he then exercise a discretion? Stop doing what you're doing to the nation.
What have we done?
You see, and this is your fixation, and it's actually a fixation about president probably, maybe, would declare a third term. And if you ask them, say, oh, but we are hearing things.
But how?
If you go to bed
on this issue,
Master, if you go to bed, if you go to bed and you have a bad dream, and on the basis of your bad dream you decide to hold the nation to ransom, you should be treated for what you are. You should be treated for what you are. What is this? Has President Mahama ever told you that he's going for a third term? Where did he get that information from?
He's not, but
because you have realized that there's no legal or constitutional basis for what you are doing.
That is not true.
You are now shifting.
That is not true.
And bringing
that is not true. Because you see, Uncle, people have their opinions.
Who told you that President Mahama is running for a third term or intends to run for a third term? Where did you get that information?
For some time, I told you probably that I have been thinking about the possibility of it being done by him even before he won the presidency. You asked my colleagues on our platforms because of Article 66(2) that I felt that the Supreme Court at the point might be called upon to interpret it. And if
on what basis? What is your basis for assuming, for dreaming that one day President
It is not a dream. It's not a dream.
So give me the basis.
But we were in this country when we were supposed to go to IMF. We said that we were going to. President Mahama said that we are not going to IMF. The next day we went. But I'm saying that some people have argued that looking at Article 66(2), a person shall not be elected to hold office as president of Ghana for more than 2 terms. Some people think that it might need interpretation. Is it 2 terms consecutively or 2 terms apart as Mahama? So if they are asking, people are thinking about this constitutional provision, you don't say that they are dreaming. Now you are sitting here. You don't, please, with all due respect,
you asked us to demonstrate.
Indulge me.
Because you think, you imagine
as we sit here,
that one day President Mahama,
you don't know the mind of President Mahama.
That's the basis for asking us to go on a demonstration.
No. The demonstration was to save the judiciary. The demonstration was to save the judiciary. It was about the removal of the CJ and the onslaught on the judiciary. That was the reason why he went on demonstration. But if other people express an opinion on his third term possibility, just indulge them. It could be or it could not be.
Where is that possibility coming from? That possibility.
But I've read
there's nothing in this constitution who says that Mahama is going for a third term. You cannot read this constitution and come to the conclusion that Mahama will go for a third term.
But I'm saying that
how did you read the constitution?
That's what I'm saying, that people are thinking that interpretation might give a different twist. You might think it is black and white, but our justices might be thinking differently. So people's genuine worries, allow them. Focus on your disagreement with them, but don't use that to debase what we did on that day. The day we went on demonstration, it was the attack on the judiciary. I just expressed the opinion. When I sat here today, I've expressed my opinion. I didn't even talk about what you are referring to. I raised issues of doubt comments the president had made previously that tell me that his intention is prejudice. That's my worry. And I've shown you my joint online publication that he is saying that we need a new Chief Justice to repair the judiciary. Is the judiciary broken to be repaired? Let's serious in this country. What is right is right. What is not right, we need to be bold. And Kwesi, you are a senior person in this country with huge experience. You be part of our democratic struggle. You be part of it. You and Kwaku and others, you be part of it. We should guard against our democracy. If the president is doing things that will not inure to the benefit of this country, let's be bold and tell him the faith. Me, I like your forthrightness, but on this matter, on this matter, I'm not feeling you at all. I'm not feeling
don't feel me. I don't want you to.
I want to feel you this morning.
No, don't feel me. I beg you. If feeling me means that I should be logically inconsistent and I should dream dreams about people's intentions,
it's not about dreaming, it's about what the man is doing.
Then don't feel me. I don't want you to feel me at all.
It's about how the man is doing.
Understand? Now, Massa, I would like you to show us. This is Article 146. I'll give it to you. And I will ask you to show us what the president has done, which is inconsistent with Article 146. You have quoted Article 296, Article 296, and claimed that the president is in violation of Article 296. I want to read Article 296 for you and everybody else so that we can understand what we're talking about. This is Article 296 of the Constitution. It says, exercise of discretionary power. That's what it says. Where in this Constitution or in any other law, discretionary power is vested in any person or authority, A, that discretionary power shall be deemed to imply a duty to be fair and candid. Fair and candid. Those are the operative words. B, the exercise of the discretionary power shall not be arbitrary, capricious, or biased, either by resentment, prejudice, or personal dislike.
Emphasize the prejudice too. The prejudice.
Yes.
Put emphasis on the prejudice.
Oh, it says the exercise of the discretionary power shall not be arbitrary, capricious, or biased, either by resentment,
or prejudice
or personal dislike, and shall be in accordance with due process of law. And where the person or authority is not a judge or other judicial officer,
like Mahamadu,
there shall be published by constitutional instrument or statutory instrument regulations that are not inconsistent with the provisions of this Constitution.
Has it been done?
Or that other law to govern the exercise of the discretionary power.
Has it been done? Has it been done?
Hold on. Master, you are talking about a process which is done in consultation with the Council of State. The Council of State is made up of 16 representatives of 16 regions. So that personal bias does not arise, cannot arise. All those conditions set out in 296 cannot arise when the president is enjoined to take that action in consultation with the body which has representatives from 16 regions, which has a former Speaker of Parliament sitting as chairman of the body, which has institutional representation from the armed forces, from the police and so on. How do you say that this body can take a decision which would express the personal prejudice of the president? Does it make sense? Master, those who are quoting Article 296, does it make sense? When we are talking about personal prejudice, And so, how can the president, acting in consultation with the Council of State, demonstrate his personal prejudice and so on? It doesn't arise. It doesn't arise at all. You understand?
All right.
And then you are demanding disclosures, one of the full petition, which will suggest that you yourself, you don't believe that what you are reading as a petition is a petition. As if you are confident that what you are reading is a petition, why are you calling for the petition again? You understand? Right. But you are demanding that the petition should be made public so that we can comment on it as well. It means that whatever you have, which is in the media, may not be the authentic petition. You understand? But be that as it may, where in this constitutional process described by the Constitution, is it stated that the petition should be made public? Where is it stated that if the president fails to make that petition public, he errs or is in violation of the Constitution? Indeed, what 146 states is that all of these processes should be in camera. It is clearly stated here. Why are you people violating the Constitution? Why are you people insisting that the president should violate the Constitution? This is the first time in my life that I've seen a group of people actually demonstrating and calling on the president to violate the Constitution. Normally, what is normal is that we demonstrate to protest against violations of the Constitution. Now we are demonstrating to encourage the president to violate the Constitution. And then my brother here makes a statement which is very interesting. He says that it is not everything which is in the Constitution. You understand?
Right.
And that there are some important things which are not covered in the Constitution. And therefore, he expects the Supreme Court to insert those things in the Constitution. The Supreme Court has no power to amend the Constitution. It has no power whatsoever to amend the Constitution. Its duty only is to interpret. So if there is something which is not in the Constitution, nobody can put it in the Constitution.
But they can recommend for it to be done.
Not the president, not the Supreme Court.
They can recommend.
No political party can put it in the Constitution.
The Supreme Court can recommend for it to be done.
But it will not be in the Constitution. Therefore,
consequential directives for Parliament to take it up. They can do that.
Yeah, but until the Constitution is amended, we go by the letter of the Constitution. You don't dream about things that you think the Supreme Court can amend. In any case, the Supreme Court has no power to amend the Constitution.
I'm saying that they interpret the Constitution.
Yes.
And in doing so, they give consequential directives.
Including power to amend the Constitution, or recommendations that the Constitution should be amended.
Kolende, Justice of the Supreme Court, is saying that there are not timelines, and if timelines are important, and you don't think that it should find expression in the Constitution through their consequential directives, can they?
They should give consequential directives which would amend the Constitution in effect.
That, because it's Parliament that will do that. It's Parliament that will do that.
Until the Constitution is amended, it is a Constitution and we all have to follow it. What kind of lawlessness are you people advocating?
There is no lawlessness anywhere, Mr. Kwesi Pratt.
There's something is not in the Constitution, but you want it implemented.
I'm going to see.
And that the Supreme Court, Master, and that the Supreme Court should direct Parliament to amend the Constitution to include those things so that we follow. What kind of lawlessness is that?
Justice of the Supreme Court.
Except to say that, Kwesi.
Yes, I'm listening to you, boss.
The lawyers will also tell you that decided cases are as equally potent as this Constitution. For instance, they talk about the Frank Ejechum versus the Attorney General's case, where the judge in that case talked about the fact that it is only fair that you make copies of a petition that's been filed against somebody known to the person. And also talks about the establishment of a prima facie. For instance, if you look at 146, the removal of the Chief Justice, there's no prima facie case there.
No, you're wrong. It is there.
No, check.
It is there. He made that point. I just checked.
Oh.
Yes, it is there.
Okay, please.
It is there.
Hot point.
The establishment of a prima facie case, whether in the removal of the Chief Justice is in 146.
It is there. It is there. It is there. I'll show you.
I think the committee has to. The committee.
1463.
Yeah.
Okay.
If the president receives a petition for the removal of a justice of a superior court, other than the Chief Justice, or for the removal of the chairman of a regional tribunal, he shall refer the petition to the Chief Justice, who shall determine whether there is a prima facie case, and it goes on for.
Okay.
When the Chief Justice decides that so and so and so, then it goes on and on and on, and then it says in 6, where the petition is for the removal of the Chief Justice,
yes,
the same processes will follow.
Okay.
But this is the difference. Where the petition is for the removal of the Chief Justice, the President shall, acting in consultation with the Council of State, appoint a committee consisting of 2 justices of the Supreme Court, one of whom shall be appointed chairman by the President,
yes,
and 3 other persons who are non-members of the Council of State,
yes,
non-members of Parliament, no lawyers.
Yes.
It's clear.
Yeah. No.
It's clear.
No.
Go to the next
You notice
one.
in the case of the Chief Justice, in the case of the Chief Justice, it's not been stated explicitly.
Hey, Master, you are making a mistake. Everything applies.
Yes.
Except the authority which decides the case finally. Everything in 146
yes,
applies to the Chief Justice as well. Except that when it comes to who determines whether or not the case presented is meritorious or not, in the case of an ordinary judge, it's the Chief Justice who determines.
But isn't that unfair?
But in the case of the Chief Justice,
yes,
it's determined by a panel of 5. That's the only difference.
Yes. I get that, but I'm saying that.
So the Premier Fashi case applies to the Chief Justice as well.
By inference?
Not by inference. Direct. It applies to the Chief Justice as well.
Well, the lawyers disagree.
Which lawyer disagrees?
No, they disagree with that.
Which lawyer?
They're saying that the fact that in the case of the removal of the Chief Justice, it hasn't been stated explicitly there.
It is explicit.
It means that
it is explicit.
Even in making the case for the establishment of a Premier Facie case, it has only become so because of the Frank Agyapong and that Visitor Attorney General's matter.
No,
that's what some lawyers. That's their argument.
Are you saying?
As far as
are you saying?
Yes.
That the Constitution says that if you want to remove the chairman of a regional tribunal,
yes,
a Premier Fashi case should be established first before reference is made to the Chief Justice.
Right.
But when it comes to the Chief Justice, there's no need for Premier Fashi.
Go straight to the point. That's the argument.
How can the Constitution?
No, but look at 7.
How
7.
Of the say 146.
The committee appointed under Clause 6 of this article shall inquire into the petition and recommend to the President whether the Chief Justice ought to be removed from office.
Yeah, that's the substantive.
Yes, that's the substantive.
That's the substantive determination.
Yeah.
The Premier
Fashi case, prior to that,
the Premier Fashi case is done at the level of the Council of State.
That's fine. So obviously we'll do this. We'll take just we are mere mortals, and so we would have different understanding about some of these things. So
always about being mere mortals. I mean, look.
The lawyers.
No, logic is a science.
Logic is
logic is a science like mathematics.
Right.
Unless you want to disagree.
No, I don't get. But look,
logic is a science.
But that's why we go to law school. If we reduce law to just science and logic, then there's no point going to law school. That's the reason why we go to law school. So that we are taught how to even read the Constitution and understand it. And that's why the lawyers will always disagree.
This Constitution is not written in Latin.
That is true.
This Constitution is written in simple English.
Yes.
And I want to submit that anybody who has gone to secondary school is capable of reading this Constitution and understanding it. But it's not Latin.
But Kwesi,
listen,
why then do you think that even judges disagree on the same Constitution? If you make it as simple as it's black and white, it's simple, there's no point to disagree. Judges even disagree on sometimes an issue as simple as you and I would have thought. They would disagree.
Different perspectives.
The 3-2 that he talked about, as to whether or not the suspension should be revoked or not. It's the same judges. They disagree.
You can get 7 and
it's not as simple as that. Even though it might look like it's simple, but it's not as simple as that.
What I'm talking about is so very simple. What we are discussing this morning is so very simple. There is nobody who has his head properly screwed on. You understand? Who is capable of deductive logic.
Right. Who disagree.
Who can argue that there's anything in 146 which suggests that if the Chief Justice is suspended, Mahama will go for a 3rd term. There's nothing here.
No, yes,
there's nothing here which suggests that if the 5-member... Can I finish? There's nothing here which suggests that if the 5-member committee determines that the Chief Justice ought to be removed from office, Mahama will go for a 3rd term.
Yes.
You are making it look so simple.
Isn't it simple?
No.
So we need to take this break.
It's so
We
simple.
need to take
You see,
this short break.
Do you want to make it complicated? Do you want to make it
but
complicated?
it's not as simple as you are saying.
Okay, make it complicated.
Not simple as
We'll
you are
take this
saying.
short.
I'm saying that
We'll
if
take
you
this
look
short.
at Article 66(2),
No, we need to take this short. We need to take a break. I beg you. We need to take a break. We need to.
Yo, waiting for waiting and someone about beto yepuno so Mikao say so when you subscribe to channel idea bomodi say obe subscribe now I like video to give us a thumbs up nafi share ma wo fufro so na we be here now who and somewhere koso ewo Ghana memoir also wait me otchere wadwen afa yes some we nyira ho ewo comment box ni mu mobeti menkabio in my next video.
Thanks for watching. Like and share the video. You can also drop your comment. Please don't forget to subscribe. Click on the bell to turn on the notification.